It's Purple Haze here with another episode of Purple Shade. And shout out to Doc Dark 1985. There's levels to this for doing a video in which he basically compares Microsoft and Sony, but he says they're both chess players. And he ultimately poses this question in the video in which he says, if Microsoft is playing chess, is Sony the better player? And I'll link in the video down below. Y'all go check it out. It's a pretty interesting match between two beginners, Doc and another player, in which Doc takes about 54 moves to win the match. And throughout the time, he's like kind of making this analogy to the business of like basically Xbox versus PlayStation. And initially, I was going to make a video where I was going to like kind of critique the moves because Doc could have easily won the game a lot sooner if he was a little bit more advanced. But either way, I think he hits the nail on the head with his analogy. But I think he ultimately missed the lesson. You see, Doc Dark 1985, when you were up material and you had the stronger position, which you actually identified fairly early in the game, you started to play lazy. You started to play very slow, and you start to actually lose track of your pieces, so much so that there was actually two of your pieces, a knight and a bishop, which you actually ended up giving up for, like, in not even like flinching. You're like, oh, well, you even say it in the video. You're like, oh, I got kind of lazy. I wasn't paying attention here. And you see, the way you played is how Microsoft plays chess. And see, you highlighted this in your video. You said the queen, PlayStation was the queen for Sony, which I totally get that. That makes sense to me. Where do you think, what piece do you think Xbox is to Microsoft? Probably not the queen, probably not a rook. Depending on how you play, you could maybe make the arguments of a bishop or a knight, depending on how you play. And see, this is the thing that hurts Xbox. This is the thing why Xbox will never be the player that Sony is. Or why Sony has to be the better player always. Because Sony doesn't have as many pieces. And so the few pieces that Sony has, it really utilizes them. Microsoft has so many other pieces on the chessboard that it forgets about these that are only growing 2 to 3%. By the way, that's Xbox, y'all. And so when I think about it, yeah, Xbox actually probably won't be as good of a gaming company than a lot of gaming companies. And I think it's actually kind of makes sense. There's other things Microsoft is dominating in. So what's the pressure to make Xbox really run really well? I'm waiting. Why do we hold Xbox? Why do we say, Xbox, you need to be the same player Sony is? Why? Xbox already has, or Microsoft already has all the pieces it needs. It's a $2 trillion company. Let me put that in perspective for people. Microsoft is 10 times the size of Sony. 10 times the size of Sony. But somehow, Xbox fans have this kind of David and Goliath mentality in which Sony is Goliath and Xbox is David. And it's like, why? Let me put it better in perspective. If Xbox was its own company, not under Microsoft, then I would say you could compete. Microsoft should be able to, or Xbox should be able to compete at that level, but it's not. Xbox, they were going to try to do a $69 billion acquisition. By the way, y'all know I totally don't think that's going to go through. But either way, they were going to do that. Do you think that's because that's what Xbox made? No. You see, the thing that holds Xbox back isn't actually Xbox. And despite as much as I would like to criticize Phil Spencer, it's not really Phil Spencer. It's Microsoft. Microsoft's not a creative company. Microsoft, if gaming hurts, guess what? Microsoft doesn't hurt. There's no pressure for Xbox to actually perform well other than just what Phil Spencer says. That's it. The proof is in the plane. The proof is it's right there. How many times does it need to be displayed to you that the games are going to come out buggy? The games are not going to be the same type of immersive experience as others. Yes, they're going to make solid games. No one's saying that. Like, But for us to think that they're ever going to be like kind of a game of the year contender, probably not. Because they don't have that pressure. That's not the type of company they are. Nintendo, Take-Two, Activision Blizzard, Square Enix, Konami, Capcom, From Software, Ubisoft, these companies, if they mess up in gaming, it's lights out. So those companies have to be the better player, Doc. But I don't know, Doc. You tell me. Why would you even ask this question? Why do you even hold out hope? And for everybody who's like, oh, this is a pony talking, I don't even have a PlayStation. I have Xboxes. Too. I'm just not under any illusions or delusions of what Xbox actually is and who they are. They're the gaming division of a large, slow behemoth of a technology company in Microsoft. I don't think they're going to be a creative, amazing, immersive experience, no matter how much I hope. And I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, I just want an easy way to game like third-party games. And the Xbox is the best way to do that. But y'all, let me know. Do you think Microsoft will ever be a better chess player? Do you think Microsoft will ever be a better gaming company than Sony? Because I don't. Because the time that Microsoft is the better gaming company, that means Sony lost. And that means if Sony loses with PlayStation, that potentially will be the end of Sony. I didn't make the rules. I just know how to play by them. But with that said, I don't care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on, how long you've been gaming. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And as always, this is Purple Haze. The proof is in the playing. Just realize who's playing who when you're dealing with Microsoft. All right, later, y'all.